The Los Angeles Lakers have been absolutely terrible this season, but today I'm going to tell you why I think they can make a playoff run. And I know all of you are going to call me an idiot in the comments, but here's what I'm going to say. I think they've been starting to play better. Every time they start trending in the right direction, someone gets hurt, and it happened last time with Anthony Davis. I thought they were turning the page before his injury, but now they're finally to get it together. LeBron's played well all season. Russell Westbrook looks like he's not figured out his issues, but he's learning to be less of a problem by taking less shots, stuff like that. Put up a nice 20 points last night in the win versus the Warriors. LeBron had 56, and they've been figuring out this lineup with Austin Reeves. He's been playing really well. Someone who didn't play at all at the start of the season has kind of just jumped into a role. Stanley Johnson, a guy who's played really well for someone who wasn't even on the roster at the beginning of the season. Like, this team's got a lot of talent. If you look at their roster, they got a lot of really high draft picks and a lot of guys who've kind of proven themselves from nowhere. They just added DJ Augustine and Wenyen Gabriel. These are two guys that really, I think, can help. DJ Augustine's going to be good in the guard spot because they're expecting to have Kendrick Nunn back sooner than he hasn't played at all this season. So DJ Augustine can fill that. Hopefully, Kendrick Nunn will make it back soon, but he's been just a missing piece all season from what they expected. And Wenyen Gabriel is kind of just similar to Stanley Johnson and plays that center power forward role when they play small with LeBron, and it worked really well last night. I think getting rid of DeAndre Jordan was a smart move, and really not using Dwight Howard's a smart move. They're fine using these power forward guys as center. It really doesn't hurt them, especially against teams like the Warriors. And they're going to get Anthony Davis back at some point. Anthony Davis is expected to be back. They said 4 weeks. They're going to reevaluate him. It's been 2 weeks. That was on February 16th. We're in March now, so almost 3 weeks. And I think at the very latest, he'll return by the April 1st game versus the Pelicans. It's a home game. They have a road trip, 3-game road stint from March 27th to March 31st, and then they come home, host the Pelicans. This leaves him, if he comes back that day, he'll have 6 games to play to finish up the season, or if he comes back March 27th at the Pelicans, which I could also see him doing, if he's ahead of schedule, he would have 9 games to play. This gives him enough time to get ready for the playoffs, get ready for the play-in situation, and I just kind of expect him to come back for a game against the Pelicans. They had a rough loss to them not too long ago, and it's just, they're not really rivals, but Anthony Davis doesn't like him. Pelicans fans don't like Anthony Davis, and those are the two. Pelicans are right behind the Lakers, trying to get switch seeds with them. Pelicans are the 10, the Lakers are the 9, and the good thing for the Lakers is that the Trailblazers are 3 games behind the Lakers. They're the 11 seed. All you got to do is be in the top 10. I think it's just far fetched for the Lakers to catch the Clippers. They're 5 games back of them. The Clippers have been rolling, and they're not definitely not catching Minnesota all the way up there. But you solidify yourself in that 9 to 10 spot. Just beat the Pelicans when you play them. Get ready to face them. They see them twice on the schedule and potentially see them in a playing game. That's the most likely situation right now. They're in a spot where they don't really got to worry about Portland catching them. And as long as they can stay in and make it into the play-in, they're going to be dangerous because at this point you should have Anthony Davis back, could potentially have Kendrick Nunn back. You'd have a couple games to get rolling, to get those two guys initiated in offense, defense, just get them comfortable playing basketball again. And then moving forward into a potential first round matchup, they'd be looking at, if you beat the Pelicans in the playing game, you're playing the loser of the Timberwolves and the Clippers, and I just think that's a chance for the Lakers to win that game as well. You win that game, I think they'll probably play the Timberwolves because although both these teams are rolling, Timberwolves won four in a row, and the Clippers run 5 in a row. But I think just the Lakers, I think, a better team. You get into a game. If you watch the Duke UNC game last night, you saw that UNC, they just kind of outcoached Duke. They played their starters all 20 minutes the second half, which is impressive because college basketball is straight 20 minutes. You don't get 12-minute breaks like the NBA does after 12 minutes. You have quarter changes, stuff like that. So I think in these playing games in the playoffs, the Lakers will be able to run LeBron James, Russell Westbrook, Anthony Davis, and whoever else is rolling for them. Whatever lineup combination's working, you can roll that for 12 minutes and you can make a run. We've seen LeBron in playoff games just take over and play the whole game and keep his team in contention, keep his team in games that really they have no chance being in. Just kind of keep him in there just because of how good of an individual player he is. And the rest of the team's been getting around. You have guys like rookies like Austin Reeves who've been just getting better, making plays, getting more comfortable, learning things out. Taylor Horton Tucker, he's been another young guy that's starting to get things figured out, learning how to play with veterans like LeBron. Like LeBron's always played with older guys just because they understand the way he plays better. And he's playing with younger guys this year, and we saw this issue when he played with the Lonzo Ball team his first year in LA. It just didn't work out, and that's kind of not, it's not working. It's a similar season, But you're gonna get the 10 seed, so you gotta keep trying. You gotta figure out. You can't just shut guys down. There's still a season left. All you gotta do is be top 10 to get a chance. They could be the 10 seed and end up winning the championship. That's how the rules work now in the NBA. So if they're the 10 seed, they win the play-in game against New Orleans. They win the second playoff game versus the loser of the Minnesota and Clippers game, and it's pretty much like that. Like there's not gonna be much change in those spots in the Western Conference. Like maybe the Timberwolves jump the Nuggets, but they're 2 games back of them, and I don't see it happening. I think the Western Conference standings. Now the only things I could see changing is like 2 and 3. Grizzlies and Warriors are really close, but the Suns are gonna be the 1 seed. So if you find a way to win and win the play-ins like I think they will, they're gonna match up with the Suns, and I think this is another pendulum series because who knows if Chris Paul's back by then. And it's similar to last year where it's the same matchup, but now you have Russell Westbrook to guard Chris Paul. The Lakers lost this matchup last year, but now you have a guy to guard Chris Paul, and I think it'll be interesting. I think it'll be a better matchup this year than last year. I'm not saying they beat the Suns, but I think they could give the Suns a good run for their money. And if they knock out the 1 seed first round, they got a good run to make the playoffs. And if they were to even get this far, it'd be a good run for them. If they play a competitive series, it'd definitely be considered a good season for them the way it started. But all I'm gonna say is I would not be surprised if the Lakers come out, make it this far, and win the series against the Suns. I could like Chris Paul's always had injury history. We've seen him get injured in the playoffs, and I could see it happening. Anthony Davis and DeAndre Ayton would kind of match up well, take care of each other. The only issue would be Devin Booker, and I think if you're the Lakers, your best bet would be to play Stanley Johnson on him. But as far as it'd be if LeBron can handle Mikal Bridges and his defense and just dominate offensively and give the Lakers a chance to win that series. And I think that's all the Lakers got to do to turn the season around and make it successful. If they do that, I'd be very impressed. And all I'm going to say is I wouldn't be surprised if it happened. Everybody watch out.